Alright guys, in today's video we're working on this 2000 Camry CE, and the problem we've got is two problems, right? The outside door handle isn't opening the door anymore. That's probably due to the internal handle having broke, but also the inside door handle is not opening the door without a lot of force. So if we come over here and look down, we're pulling this door handle to the full extent of its travel, and the door's still not opening. We actually have to hold this to the full extent of its travel, and we have to kind of hit it. And so the problem there is that the latch is also worn out. So we got two parts to replace on this. I'm going to break them up into two videos. Let's go confirm that diagnosis though before we jump into it. I'm going to lower the window all the way, and we're going to snake camera down inside the door, and we're going to confirm the obvious diagnosis. Alright, so we just snake the camera in right here, and if we kind of zoom in on what the camera sees, I'll see if I can twist this so you guys don't get any glare. If we lift up on the handle now, we can see the mechanism is moving, but the door rod, which is what you see here with this yellow retainer, right? This should be moving with the door handle, and it's not, so we can confirm now that the door handle is definitely busted and needs to be replaced. Alright guys, in order to get access, we got to get this trim panel off the door. There's a variety of fasteners. I'll show you. We'll start on the right hand side and we'll sweep to the left. So the first thing is this little piece here. There's a kind of a push prong pin at the top, and then it just comes out from the bottom, right? So this guy fits in there. Next is this little round cover here. I don't know if this trim tools, yeah, he's going to be able to get in there. We're going to pull this off so that we can get access to the fastener that's underneath. So it just kind of friction fits in there, and it covers up this little guy here. Now most of these are probably GIS type bits, Japanese Industrial Standard bits. Let's see if we have the right size for this one. Yes, we do. So we'll take this screw out here. In a pinch, you could use a Phillips as well. So that guy goes there. Then we're going to take off this guy here. There's like a little clip on the front, so wedge it up from the back. And then we'll want to get the power harness piece disconnected. There's a little push pin right here. A release clip. I'm going to push that in and pull out the harness. Okay, so that's it for the switch. Next thing we're going to go off and grab is this little piece here. Behind there's a screw that we'll need, and then we'll also have to take this bezel off as well. So we'll take like a very small pry bar, and we'll see if we can get this little door open without damaging it. Nope, we're going to have to use a pick, a straight pick. There we go. So behind this little door, these things are super fragile, by the way. You can see there's another screw right there that we got to get, another GIS screw. But before we do that, we're going to come in here with this tool. And actually, you know what? I take that back. We're going to go ahead and take this guy out first, and then we'll unsnap him. And now I'll do what I was about to do. Come in here and we'll unsnap this guy. There's just a little retaining clip there and there. Okay. I'm just going super gentle with this because I don't want to break anything. Got the top one off, but this bottom one is being stubborn. You can see right there, there's like a, we zoom in, there's like a little peg that goes in to this bezel. We got to get it to come off in order to remove it. And then there's a little prong clip on the front here. So you got the little door that's fragile, you got the little prong that's fragile, and then you got these two pieces sit on side little nubs on the handle. So this is off. Now the next one on this is right down underneath here. There's a screw here and there's one behind here. Let's go ahead and get this guy first because it's in the camera's view better. So this little plug here pries off. And if we can get that off without damaging anything, that'll reveal another screw behind there. Well, I got to get down here and see. Move this camera out of the way for a moment. It's a really long screw. And I think we've got it, but it's just kind of stuck in there. So I'm going to have to get a magnet to get it out. The other one, I believe, that might be it. There's two more on the very bottom. Here. That guy right there. And see if I can feel for the next one. This guy right here. That guy right there. All right, so we got one more push-in clip on the other side, but I think that's it here. Let me go grab a magnet, fish this guy out, and then we'll go get the pin. All right, so we can fish this guy out here, so you can see he's kind of on the long side. And then when I was down here to see what that was hung up on, I can see there's one more of these right here. I don't know if that one's, I might not have even grabbed him all the way. This one is like at an angle. There we go. All right, same deal. You're going to have to need a little magnet to fish him out. All right, and there's number two. All right, now we're going to go on the side over here. And there's this guy. So for this guy, we're going to take a pick and push in the little middle pin. And then that should allow us to get the outside to come off like that. And that's how that retainer's on. So with that out of the way, assuming we didn't miss anything else, it's been a while since I took one of these off, so I think we're good. Now we should be able to take a plastic trim prying tool, and it's just held on by some push-in retainers. And then you may have some debris come out as this guy lets go. And one of the things you want to look at when you do something like this, that came off way too easy. And so what I'm looking at is down here on our panel, we've got a clip here, and we got a clip here, and these can sometimes be red or white from Toyota. But one here, but this one's broke. So one of the things we got to do is replace this broken clip. I'll go ahead and put a part number for that down in the description. All right, so let me get this door panel pulled out of the way, and then we're ready to do the repair. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these 3 GIS screws off and take this metal panel off. Set that down here. All right, the next thing we're going to do is, this is the clip that push pin went into. We're going to remove that, and we're going to make sure that it still has its little nubs on the side. Otherwise, we would need a new one. This one's okay. Next thing we're going to do is, we've got to take this water deflection shield off, and you're going to want to keep this, so be careful as you remove it, because it's going to stick to this butyl tape that you see all along the perimeter. All right, so at this point now, I'm realizing we made a mistake at the beginning. We want to get this window up, so I'm going to put the switch back in, and we're going to raise this window, so we'd have to be able to get our hand in here, guys, so no big deal. It's fine even if you have this same mistake I just made. We just need to raise the window. All right, so that door handle, typically you have like a plastic patch covering this hole. If that's missing, that means somebody's already been in here. And this is so you can access the fasteners that are holding the door handle, the outside door handle, to this door frame. But before we can get to that part, we got to release the 2 rods that attach it to the latch. So if we look up here inside, we can see like some yellow plastic, which is the retainer on one of those rods through that hole. If you guys can see that okay. And then there's one off to the side that you can't see, and I'm going to give you a view with the portable camera for that. So if we switch down here, so that first rod through that hole is right there, and there's that yellow retainer on it. All right, and then the other one we have to release the rod from is right here in the back. So this one is to actuate the latch from the door handle, and this one is the lock that's attached to where you stick the key in. So if you can see the shape of that, we're going to reach back in there and we're going to lift that guy up. And I can't show you that, but I'm going to reach back in there right now and do it. So see that yellow right there? You're going to see it in a different position. I'm going to reach my hand back in there. And I'm going to unlatch it. And so now if I bring this back, show you guys again, I apologize for the lawnmower in the background. You can see I've got that lifted up now, and you can see the rod still attached. But if I stick my hand in there on that rod, now that retainer's off, and push it, got to see where it is here for myself for a second. All right, right there. There we go. And you can push it out. Right there, right? So we've got that guy pushed out of the little slot that retains him. So that's the first one. So now we got to get this guy up here. So again, you're going to see me reach in, and I'm going to lift that yellow retainer up. And to do that, I'm just going to take our little pry bar tool, and you might even be able to see me doing this one through that hole. Not sure. That guy's stubborn. But I think he let go just then. Fold him out of the way. And you can see now I've got that retainer lifted off the rod so that we can push the rod out. Now to get the rod pushed out, I'm not going to be able to get the camera in there because we're going to have to pull the door handle up, and then we're going to squeeze that rod out with a pair of long nose pliers. So I'll see if I can get you that right after we finish it. Alright, so long nose pair of pliers. You can wrap them with tape if you're concerned about damaging the finish. And you catch one end of the rod on this end, and then you can grab this guy on that frame, and then you can squeeze it out like that. So if you look back in the hole here, you can see I've got this guy disconnected. So at this point, the outside door handle is disconnected from the latch. Alright, with the latch rods disconnected from this door handle, the only thing holding it on are these attaching fasteners. Now this is an aftermarket handle, and we're going to get rid of this as quickly as we can. But you can see it's held on by some kind of a Phillips or GIS type screw. This is supposed to be a 10 millimeter headed screw. So if you have a genuine Toyota, it'll be a 10 millimeter. But there's one here that you can access through this hole. And then through this hole, if you look through the camera and zoom in, there's another one up there. I'm going to go ahead and pull those off next. And that should be the only thing holding this on at this point. Now you don't have to worry about dropping anything. Yeah, we're going to have an extension here. This is a little bit longer. So let me get a longer extension for our driver, guys. All right, let's get this guy first. Well, that guy is on there super tight, naturally. All right, that's one. That is not factory Toyota. Well, that one I dropped. And I can see him right there. So we'll take our handy magnet, fish him out. And again, that's not factory Toyota. All right, with all that out of the way, we should be able to go on the other side and pull this handle off. All right, with both rods to the latch disconnected and both those fasteners removed, there's nothing else holding this guy. So we can just work him out. All right, and now with it open, we can see that this is definitely an aftermarket handle, and I already knew this because I fixed this door lock for the owner in a previous video I can put up here in the upper right. But this is a genuine Toyota lock assembly, but this deal here is not. So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to transfer this lock over to a genuine Toyota handle, and then we're going to replace it. All right, we're just going to remove this last fastener. And again, this should be a 10 millimeter if it was genuine. And then there's always going to be a washer. And then the lock assembly comes right out. Like I said, this is genuine Toyota. This is not. This is garbage. All right, so what are we replacing this with? Well, we're going to replace this with a genuine Toyota part, 69220-AA010-D2. These are still available from Toyota, even for a vehicle this old, which is great. And they come pre-painted, so the different part numbers reflect what color they're pre-painted in. Now, I don't like that they just come in this little baggie. You'd think for something pre-painted, they would put it in a box to protect the finish, right? And then there's grease all over these. I've seen this before. They put grease on the lock and it ends up getting all over the finish too. So other than that, it's great. Alright, so what we'll do here is we'll take our lock assembly and drop it back in. Now I should have mentioned there's two kinds of these that you'll see. There are some that have an electronic sensor on the end. I'll put a picture of that up here in the upper right area if your model has that. What I'm showing you though should be the same either way. I think this screw here will fit this guy. Yep. Trying to decide if this washer was something aftermarket or we still need it. And it looks like we still need it, as far as I can tell. Just give me a second to see. No, I think that washer was some other aftermarket deal. So we'll leave that off. And actually, this is what the correct screw should look like because it cuts into the plastic. So just get it started, and then we'll ratchet it down with a 10 millimeter. Now there's no torque value on this particular fastener. There is on the ones that we're going to put back that hold it, but this guy, the service manual, doesn't show anything. And I'll show you the service manual here in just a moment. So at this point we're ready to reinstall this guy and put back in those two fasteners that we removed. And they're going to be of the correct type this time. So they're going to look like this with a self-starting bit on the end to cut into the plastic. Alright, as we put this guy back in, as you can see on the brand new one, it's loaded up with some multi-purpose grease where that lock release rod is going to go. If you don't have that in there, make sure you add some. I'll show you where it points that out in the service manual in just a moment. But installing it is just the reverse of what we did before. You're going to need the key for the installation because we're going to want to move the lock down into a better position for positioning this rod back on here. But we're just going to slide this guy up underneath, slide this guy into this cutout here. There we go. Now we're going to go inside and put these two 10 millimeter fasteners in. Put the fasteners in before we connect the rods back. I'm just going to show you this one here because it's nice and easy to see. I recommend you put this stuff in with by hand tools because it's going into plastic. I'm going to try to get it started by hand here. We don't want the handle to push out on us until we get this first one in. So reach your hand around and keep it pushed in until you get it started. Now I'm doing this blind so that you guys can see. I might have to move you out of the way just to get it started. Not there. I think I finally got it started. All right. And then I'm going to flip sides here, and then we'll pick it up after I flip sides. All right, so again, we're just going to snug it down by hand. And once it feels tight, you're done. Now we're going to go do the other side with the same thing. Alright guys, so I'm just going to show you that it is possible to get your hand up in here and get this guy started. I obviously can't show you tightening this one up because I got to get right in the space where you're going to be seeing. But just kind of feel around until it feels like it's cutting into the plastic, and at that point we can bring in the tool and tighten it up. Alright, as soon as he's snug up, now this side I switched to a 1/4 inch size 10 millimeter socket and extension just to get in past this channel that you see right here. It's going to obstruct you being able to put 3/8 hardware in there. Alright, at this point we're just ready to hook up the rods. Alright, so now we're going to push this rod back into the door handle right there. Now hopefully I've got enough to do this with you guys seeing. There we go. And then I'm going to pull the little latch piece, the little yellow latch piece down. Let me get over here where I can see it. Don't block your view. All right, just like that. And now this guy's reattached. Now I don't think I'm going to be able to let you see the door lock one. I might come in on this side and just let you kind of line it up. Yeah, let me see if I can get the camera in from our cam, and you can see what I'm doing. All right, so there's the last one we got. This is the hardest one. So we got to get the lock rod back to where it attaches on the outer door handle. So you can see the little yellow retainer in this view, and you can see the rod. I've got the key sitting in the lock. I'm going to see if I can reach around and turn that while still holding this for you guys. All right, see how this is coming down? So I'm not going to be able to hold this because I only got two hands, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to hold that lock like that, and then I'm going to push that rod in. So we'll come back after I do that. All right, so we pushed the rod through, and now I'm just going to reach up, push the retainer down. All right, and we're all set. So that was the last thing. Everybody's latched and locked in at this point. Make sure that's in all the way. Yep, that's in all the way. All right, so at this point, we're ready to test it out. So we're going to kind of take this, let's get our flashlight out of here. We're going to put our deflector back around where it was when we took it off as best we can. Make sure that we know that we're going to need to put that little clip retainer right there. All right, if we check the service manual for this section we're working on here for the front door components, we can see that our T30s are going to be 43 inch-pounds of torque, and we can see that on our door lock, or excuse me, our outside door handle is 49 inch-pounds of torque, right? But some things, like the lock cylinder, they don't give a torque value. On those, you're just going to do it nice and snug. Similarly, this channel that runs along the side, they don't give a torque value on that either. Now, maybe, it could be, we can see here that there's several screws that hold the regulator in, and they all have 66 inch-pounds. They say there's 6 of those. I might be able to say that maybe they're talking about that all of these are the same, and I'd be fine to just go with that torque value for anything like that. But you can see not everything in a Toyota is going to have a torque value. When we get ready to put everything back on the inside, we can see the screw on our bezel, handle bezel, the screws that we took off that are holding the door frame, the door trim panel, none of those have any torque values listed. The only thing that's really of note here is when we're putting these pieces back, and let me see what they have here. Yeah, there's a thing they make a point of here when you're putting the door lock, the latch assembly in. They make sure to let you know that they want you to use this adhesive to those 3 T30 screws. This adhesive is like a Loctite material. So we're going to be applying that before we do the final torque on those. They also mentioned applying multi-purpose grease to the sliding surface of the door lock. So if you don't have that on there already, that's something that you would want to do. On the outside handle, here's that torque noted about 61 inch-pounds that we saw in this picture back here. Where is that? No, that's not even on the picture. Interesting. So this picture we saw was talking about something for 49. This one here is talking about something for 61. Not really sure what they're referring to because they don't give a picture for that. They just have that as a comment. So we don't really know what those are, but I would assume that these are the fasteners that actually attach the door handle to the door frame. All right, we're just trying to get our butyl rubber sticking again where it needs to. We've put this plate back on, double checking that everything's done here. Excuse me, done here. We put our little clip back in here. And this guy is supposed to stick in like that. Now before we go any further, we want to make sure this actually works, right? So what you can do is you can take a screwdriver or something and you can activate the latch. This is going to be the same as if it hits the striker. And if we take our inside door handle and we actuate it now very gently, because you can see it moving right here, yeah, that's how it's supposed to open. Very smoothly and very easily without any force. And if we do the same thing out their outside handle, all right, so that latch is working just fine. So we're going to go ahead and hang our outside panel, and we're going to reverse everything I already showed you. I'm not going to record that all over again. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we'll come back in at the end for any touch-ups. All right, we're finally done. We're just making sure that everything's working okay. So, right, this is opening exactly the way you'd expect with very little force. We want to make sure that our door locks are working correctly. So power door locks are working fine. So this video is done. This repair is over. Good repair. If you got questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. I'll try to help. If this helped you get your outside door handle fixed, pay it forward and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.